for additional revenue. Quite frankly, the corporations are so busy passing jobs overseas that they're not really dependable anymore. But we have lost in this state over 200,000 jobs, and I'm not sure that that figure includes all of the teachers that are essentially laid off, so that number may jump exponentially here. Yep. We were in desperate need for jobs in this area.
There's a lot of money. Yeah, there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines that we've got to get reinvested. And as we get businesses confident that if they invest, we're not going to have confiscatory taxes. If we can get them convinced that if they start that factory, we're not going to and get all permits right. We're not going to shut them down halfway through because we've changed the rules.
You can't change
in the middle of the
What
rules.
can you change?
We can change that. Abolish the EPA and start all over again with a more user-friendly environment.
I can understand that that has a certain appeal. It has a certain appeal for me too. It's it's hard to accept all those limitations, but it's equally hard to believe that we're being asked sometimes to drink dirty water and to.
I tell you what, we got to get to. You've gone over your minute.
I would
love to sit down with you either after this or in my office and hear
what to do that.
Give me
go to the end of the line.
Or give me the list of specific things you think you want to do. I don't claim to have all the answers. That's why I'm here to listen to you. And if you've got a good idea that we think we can make work, I'm going to work to make it work. I pray a lot about my decisions. I talk to a lot of people about my decisions, and I do the best I can. If I knew everything, I'd be in the Senate.
Well, I'd like to see more out of you in terms of jobs, and I can understand that might be your wish as well.
All right.
And so we'll count on that.
Thank you.
Congressman, do I get along to ask questions she did? Let's see. Anyway.
No, she's
I'm
better looking
female.
than you
I
are,
can do
Mike.
First off,
Remember
again,
that,
I appreciate you're willing to come down and face heat from when you have to deal with tough issues. I'm one of the original Tea Partiers here, and I would have voted the same way you did.
Thank you.
So I realized you had a tough choice to make, and you had to make it. I agree with your reasoning on it. On the job front, my understanding, someone was handing out something about 200,000 jobs lost in Texas. I understand Texas has increased more jobs than anywhere else. So I don't know what that's...
500,000, all government jobs.
And that's not true.
Well, it's almost true.
It's not true. Anyway, my thought is there any way with just one house of Congress that the Republican Party has of changing the president's policy on limiting drilling offshore? Both the slow process of his permitting, the slow permitting that they're doing right now, extremely slow, and then they stopped allowing drilling off the East Coast, stopped drilling off the various areas of Alaska, and how about drilling in Anwar? Is there any way that the House can influence the president? That would create hundreds of thousands of jobs.
All right, let me ask you a question, Mike. Let me turn that around. This is actually a question. There was an amendment we voted on a week or so ago for funding of BOMER, which is the department that does the offshore leases.
Oh, yeah.
Do you cut their budget, or do you give them more money so they can process them faster? What do you do?
Well,
if you
one of the issues there is that their attitude towards permitting. In order to permit a well, you don't have a general plan. You have to have literally a warehouse full of documents.
That's the problem. Really, the only power we have is in the House of Representatives is the power of the purse string. Because if we can't get the Senate to vote on it and pass it, you got to get 60 senators to agree to vote on it before you even get a chance to pass it, and you can't get the White House to sign it. All we really have is the power of the purse string.
Okay.
So it becomes questions of more money or less money or no money.
Okay, so it seems to me that perhaps a change in administration may be what we need to
get
more jobs in the U.S.
Here's the nonsense of it. Mexico, drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. Cuba, issuing leases to Venezuela, Brazil, and now they're negotiating with China. Not any regulation we inflict, and I choose that word purposefully, on domestic oil and gas industry has a lick of effect on what China or the Cuban lessees do. So why are we wasting all this time, energy, and money with these regulations when we could be investing that in equipment, training, and personnel to respond to oil spills wherever in the world they happen? And that's an opportunity for us here in Corpus Christi with the former Naval Station Ingleside to locate some of that spill response team right here. I mean, I think that's a better way to deal with it when you deal with the realities of the United States is not the only player in offshore drilling, and we can't control the other guys. And as far as jobs goes and drilling, we in the House passed a bill to speed leases in the Gulf of Mexico to open up more federal land. There was a series of 3 we passed and sent to the Senate. They have not gone beyond. And I do think we ought to be making a statement, passing more bills that are more aggressive about some of the things that we want, and pointing out to the people that, hey, talk to your senator. I got 10 more seconds.
I have 10 seconds. The EPA, I read today, the EPA is trying to shut down several power plants in the state of Texas. Is there anything at all that can be done about that?
We're looking at defunding several programs that the EPA has. We're in the middle of Department of the Interior funding right now, and there are quite a few EPA amendments.
Okay, my question is about Senator Connie Mack's 1% reduction plan.
Right.
What's your view on that, and was it seriously considered?
I'm a co-sponsor of it. Anybody can do away with 1% of their budget without much pain. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. What the plan is, it reduces across the board 1% cut every year for 6 years. And I think as a general rule, across the board cuts are kind of an easy way out. But this is such a small amount over a period of time as far as cuts, and it'll make such a huge difference that it's a no-brainer. I'm a co-sponsor of that in the House. But I don't think we can use that as an opportunity to advocate our responsibility to make some of the hard choices.
I think it would pass, though. At any point.
I think it could pass the House. I don't.